Okay, I'm going to call to order the meeting of Capital Planning Committee. It's January 28th at approximately 5:05 p.m. I'm Anna Crane. I am the chair of Capital Planning Committee, and I'm going to ask my members to do a verbal roll call and say that they are here.
John, present.
Great.
Here.
Eloise? She might, let me see.
Oh, she's muted. There she is.
Oh, okay.
Eloise, yes.
Okay. Janet?
Great.
Janet, I don't know if I have to do roll call, but Janet Lamy from Finance Committee.
Yeah.
I'm the liaison for the Finance Committee.
Okay.
Great.
All right. Would you like to get right into it and I can
Yes.
share the screen so you can see where you're at? Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. Here we are. Okay. So, is this too, yeah, it's probably too small for you to see, huh? Let's see if we can, probably still is too small. All right, so,
Could you shorten year 2023?
I did, I put 2022 to 2026.
No, just hide them. Don't delete them. Just hide them so that we can see more of what's on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
All right. When we get to the bottom though, in totals, I'm gonna have to open it back up because.
Of course.
Okay. All right. All right, so you held the brush truck. Several approvals. You approved car 2. You approved the police police cruiser. You approved the grant, the donation funded radio system infrastructure. You held the rooftop air handler, and unfortunately, we don't have a quote yet on the roof. So if you want to continue to hold that, you could certainly just report that to the board on Monday night. The roof, of course, is on hold. I don't think we really, well, never mind. Just looking at, you approved the hot top, you held the,
The forestry truck.
oh, this one we did. Oh, no, you held the $60,000 for the contract tree removal, and I have not heard back from Dave on this. So I don't know if you want to just forego it.
That's Margaret, that's the request that he made last year.
Yes, it is.
That we reduced to 60K. I see.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
You approved the bucket truck from grant funding. You approved, you held the wood chipper. I can't really remember why, but you held the wood chipper.
Yep.
You approved the loader replacement. You held the capital stabilization funding because I think that was in part to see how much the roof would cost, right?
Correct.
Well,
Yep.
Okay. So that could be noted in the report to the board. You held the asphalt repairs and restriping. Again, I don't know what the highway department's capability will be here. I think that was the issue with that.
Yep.
What is this one? Oh, you held all 3 of these school items, and I think it was probably getting late at that point, maybe.
So Margaret, can I speak to that $18,000 since I did do my research or no?
Yeah, well, that's
Please.
the chair's prerogative.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, excuse me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So
Yes. No, Janet. Please tell us what you know.
So I did a little research. I'm very active in the Maynard school system for the Safe Routes to School. And I know that they do have lots of grants and funding. Unfortunately, Berlin has not been an active participant in the Safe Routes to School. So currently there is no funding, but even if there were funding, they would be highly unlikely to get any of it in the near future because of their inactivity. And I think some of that's because I don't think they knew about a lot of the programs, and they already pretty much have a safe route from the center of town, which is really where they would travel, because that was something that was put in when the school was built. So I will reach out to the school and see if they can start to become active in the program for future funding. But I will say, I'm going to probably speak out of turn here. I don't know what the school can do for that money, but after the year we've had and the signage that they're using, they really do need an update, especially like all of you know, this information is changing minute by minute, never mind day by day. And if they wanted to put something out there, they literally have to walk out, open the board, like form their sentences with the little plastic letters and then stick them in. I don't know if you're familiar with that type of signage. So I'm not saying we have to do this now, but I'm saying it is a need at some point to become, you know, current. And I think in the era of pandemic, we probably realized, they probably realized that this now is not a sign that's really appropriate. I mean, school closes, school opens, and it could happen on a drop where they have to go out and redo the sign by hand.
Great.
So that's
Thank
all I
you.
have.
Thank you. Margaret, it is my understanding that we can acknowledge the BMS requests, but we cannot deny them, correct?
They'll be plugging well, no, I mean, last year they were very, very this year they were very, very cooperative. When COVID hit, they did voluntarily take things off, but you're right. Essentially, when they submit, they're now submitting as a capital assessment, not as a capital article. So there's little leeway other than, coordinating with them maybe to do something different. So, and there are funds left in free cash. And Janet's right. The school has not been consistently active with shared streets, and it would be wonderful if they could be. We worked with them in 2019 on a grant, and so John was an active participant then. With shared streets, the school actually has to be the lead applicant,
Right.
not the town.
Right.
And so, if they could, maybe get back into the swing of it and look at maybe other projects. But we do have the free cash available to fund this. So anyway, I'm sorry, that was a long answer to a question.
And I did speak with Rachel, who is the area representative.
Yep,
of the
yes,
state
she is.
School. She's
Yep.
lovely, and she wanted
Yep,
to
she
help
is.
so badly. So I forwarded the email to Margaret and
Peg.
town administrator, and Margaret Stone, or Peg Stone as I call her, selectman, because she has been very, very ambitious about looking into and writing grants. And she was going to look into that for the school, but I guess I can now have maybe Peg forward something off to the school. And she was also going to reach out to the parent teacher link to see if they had any funding, for a few reasons. They usually fund programs for the school, but because they're not allowed to be bringing people in during the pandemic or allowing students to go out during the pandemic, and their link, I believe, and Margaret can speak better to this than I, is one of those organizations that can't hold on to their funds. It has to be spent because of the way it has been set up. I don't know the name of it, but I do know the money can't like just sit and gain interest. It has to be spent within the year. So we'll reach out to them and I can circle back.
Great.
Well, so what does the capital planning committee want to do? Would you like to recommend it from free cash and pending maybe further information from Link, or?
Since we have to go before the selectmen next week, I make a motion that we approve all of them, and hopefully we can reduce the prices before it goes to print.
Okay, all right.
That's reasonable, Eloise. Thank you.
Yeah, I would second that. I would second that. So before I call it to a vote, does anyone have comments or concerns? Discussion? Okay, so I'm going to call it to a vote. Anna Crane, I say aye.
Eloise, yes.
John?
Aye.
Okay.
Aha.
Are you in favor, John?
Yeah, yes, I am. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. There you go. All right, so you took care of those three. Those were the last ones in the entire list for this year. So let's go back up to the
Okay.
other couple you held.
Can
Uh,
Margaret, before we go back up, can we look at totals? Where are we as far as how much money we've spent now at the moment?
Yeah, okay. I need to just make, oh, see, this is where I need to unhide rows. Hold on. Unhide columns, I mean. All right. All right, let's see what we've got. I have, here is what you have. Now, the NI not identified, I just have to make one small change there and move L56 to free cash. And free cash will take on L56. Okay, so there you have the spending that's requested. Here are your balances. Now, since your last meeting, June confirmed that ambulance receipts has a balance of $375,373, which means that the ambulance could actually be funded in FY22, partly from ambulance receipts so as not to drain it completely, and partly from Highland Commons public safety mitigation. By funding the ambulance in FY22, we can also start to get on an ambulance replacement schedule, a 10-year cycle, where each of the two ambulances would be replaced every 10 years in 5-year increments. So I have another, would you like to see that now, or do
I
you want to
would.
just? Okay.
I
all
would
right.
too.
All right, let me go into that spreadsheet. It's a very, very basic spreadsheet, but here we are. As soon as it opens, here it is. Let me make it bigger. Can you see this?
No.
No.
Oh, okay, that's because I'm still sharing the other one. Hold on. Hold on, let's see. Here it is. Okay. So it's a very basic spreadsheet. So you have ambulance 1. This is the one that the chief has requested. I mean, chief actually might be here now. Let me see if he's here. Yes, he is here. I'll promote him.
Can't you just plug that into the spreadsheet?
I could cut and paste this and put it into the other one. Sure. Yeah.
Hi, Chief.
I just,
Good evening, everybody.
hey, chief.
Hey,
How you
Chief.
doing? All
Well,
right,
thank you.
so the ambulance 1 went in service on February 22nd, 2010. All right, so it is now in FY22, it'll be 12 years old. So it's going to be due for replacement. Ambulance 2 went into service on August 18th, 2018. So that won't be due for replacement until FY29. That'll be the 10 years. Chief, I don't know if you had a chance to see this. I emailed it to you a little while ago.
No, I can see what you got right there.
Okay.
Margaret, Well, I don't understand. If one went into service in 10 and 10 is 20,
Mhm.
and 10 and,
But we've already missed that for the
oh,
10
I
year.
got it. Sorry.
Okay,
sorry.
so what we
Got
have
it,
to
got
do,
it.
because we're a little bit off the schedule, is we need a few years to catch up and get on the 10-year cycle.
Yep.
So this
Got it.
would mean, okay, so the
Yep.
ambulance 2 would be 29.
Yep.
Ambulance 1 would be replaced again in FY 34.
Yep.
Again, it's 12 years, but at that point, it catches both the ambulances up on a 10-year replacement cycle.
Got it. Yep. I see it.
I have no issues with it. I would just like it to be in the plan so that you can see it as opposed to everything else.
See how this looks. Ha, it's in. I'll share that one now. You can see everything all at once. Hold on, where is it though? Right here. Yes, look at this. See, I can even make it bigger. There, how's that? 12.
Very good.
Thank you.
Okay,
It's missed some.
yeah, you're right. That's because we've got some formatting issues here. Hold on, maybe if I push it over. I can fix it. I'm gonna get rid of a couple of, delete that. I promise I will have this all formatted properly for you. Hold on. Maybe this will do.
I mean, the stuff that doesn't fit in, that can go down below with an asterisk.
I've still got a couple of columns hidden. Oh, I'll fix it. I promise I will fix it. You saw it when it was good. I think if I maybe move this over now. There you go. Is that a little better? It's something. I can straighten it out later. I can even cut and paste it as a picture, and that way it won't be affected by the spreadsheet formatting, but not right now. I'm sorry. I'll get it fixed.
Does Chief know the good find of the receipts?
Yes, because Chief, did you?
He wasn't there last night, so.
Chief, the ambulance receipts that we thought it had a much lower balance.
Yep.
It's got a balance of 375,373.
Well,
I said out loud, when June said that last night, I said 373. So that's why I'm proposing FY 22 funding, 100 and it was 100 and
160.
well, 165 from ambulance receipts and 145 from Highland Commons mitigation. If we did it that way, there would still be funds left to purchase the brush truck. There would be sufficient funds left to do that as well. So.
Funds in Highland Commons mitigation?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What
And
else? Oh, what else is coming out of Highland Commons mitigation? Just the police cruiser?
Highland Commons mitigation will have, I can tell you right now, it's going to have, oh gosh, the brush truck, car 2 replacement, police vehicle replacement, and $145,000 for the ambulance. All of that.
Do we have all that funds or? are we
Yes, because we had yeah, because I was estimating, now, we don't, Janet. That's a very good
I
question.
mean, I'm a little leery about that. I'm sorry. I
Well,
keep
yes,
talking.
yes.
Sorry, Anna.
Honestly,
No,
we have to be concerned about that now because we know what's happening with the development agreements. But if we receive the Highland Commons mitigation funds in the spring, as we normally do, then there would be funding to do that. If we don't receive the Highland Commons mitigation funds in the spring, there is not enough money to do any of the none of the projects. And there also wouldn't be enough money to fund public safety payroll costs that we started last year. So it's a,
This
it
is
is
a
a
good
concern.
best case scenario.
This is well, the best case scenario would be to plug in the $600,000 that we would expect to receive. I've only plugged in half of that. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. $210,000 is reserved for the operating budget too. So it's near, yes, Eloise, it's near a best case scenario. Yes.
I can remember when we had to go back and cut due to Proposition 2.5.
Me too.
Yeah, and
So
I
it
would
was-
prefer not to have to do something like that. It's,
Yeah, I
Oh,
agree. I
painful.
agree, Eloise, and I'm pretty much sure the finance committee is really working hard not to have to do that, especially since I think they did such a great job last year.
I think the town administrator also did, and the administrative finance team. We did it as a team. It
Well,
was
I
a
just gonna
crazy.
say, you didn't let me finish. I was just gonna say, I don't know where we would have been without Margaret and her leadership
Stop.
with all of this, because it really was a
Crazy.
lot of, we had everything done and then boom, and then we had to redo everything. And I'm telling you, she earned her pay and they earned their positions, let me tell you. So
Well, and we all worked together as a team.
we
It was
did. It
crazy.
was a teamwork, but we needed you.
Oh, thank you. But I think that what we need to do, nothing is certain. We know this now, and so what we need to do is we need to say contingent upon receipt of these funds.
Right.
Yes.
Right? And that's kind of how we have to approach this.
well, by the time the warrant gets printed, we will have a better idea of, yes, we do, or no, we don't.
Exactly. And the town can also decide through the motions what other funding source it might choose to use. It could decide stabilization, or any other available funding source. So you're right, Eloise. That's hopefully we'll know. So anyway, on that note, I can fix up this whole thing. So the only things that you have still that you haven't made a decision on are the wood chipper and the wood chipper.
we have not made a brush truck decision.
No, or the brush truck or the contract tree removal. Because if that grant doesn't come through, that's going to be another issue.
Well, how much does he have in his budget right now for tree removal?
I think he says he has enough for about, is it 10 days or fewer than 10 days of tree removal the whole year? Maybe it's
That's
less.
assuming he hires somebody. Could he rent out a truck?
He could potentially rent out a truck.
I
and
mean, I
also-
don't want him to rent out a truck for the tallest trees. I would leave that to a commercial concern,
Yeah,
maybe from the mid-length or lower.
yes, but, oh yeah, he could do that. He could do either out of his budget. But the budgeted funds, the operating budget funds are just very restricted.
I was gonna say, I thought he told us last year he had $10,000 every year for tree removal.
I think that actually, you know what, I can tell you.
I think you're right, Anna. I think I remember that too.
Yeah, and it's something like $1,500 a tree contracted out.
Right,
Yep.
Three. I have the breakdown here.
Did you all vote on the ambulance? Was that a done deal, Margaret, or does that still need to be discussed too? I thought
Yeah, that
that.
still does too,
Yeah,
yeah.
well,
Yeah.
they should be talking with fire since Chief's here and.
Okay, Dave said he has budgeted in his budgets a sky worker for 10 days.
Okay.
That's what I thought. Okay.
They were working today on Crosby Road.
That is
National Grid.
National Grid, yeah,
Oh,
so
really?
they're gonna
Oh,
take care of, yeah,
okay.
they're gonna take care of a few things. All right, so, where, you wanna go back way up here or what? You wanna go back up to the brush truck to start, or to the ambulance?
Personally, I don't want to vote on the brush truck until I know what the roof is.
Okay,
That's strictly my opinion. They don't fix themselves.
mhm. And the ambulance?
Let's not all speak at once. Oh, I'm still torn about the ambulance. I'm glad to hear that our receipts would cover a large chunk of it. I'm still a little, I guess the word is confused about how much we're spending already. But out of our Highland Commons funding, we've got 2 vehicles and a half an ambulance.
All right, let me go back.
And
go
maybe a
back
brush
down
truck.
here. Okay. All right, so, the Highland Commons mitigation funding, disregard recommended. Highland Commons mitigation funding, this would be, if the brush truck and the ambulance, at $145,000, and the police cruiser and car 2. Is that it, chief? Were all paid from Highland Commons mitigation. There'd be a $75 balance.
I see. Okay.
Okay, I need to come up with a more succinct way to show this, but that's
Is that
essentially
with
it.
the total 600?
No, that's with the
That's
$300,000.
half of what we're expecting. We have to keep that in
Yeah, but
mind,
you
right?
have to take out how much you're paying for in payroll.
$210,000. Yeah. So I did reduce it slightly. There could be another $50,000 in here. We don't know. So,
And that's with the new receipts plugged in for the ambulance?
No, the ambulance receipts for 2021 has no amount of money in it. I think it should have some amount of money in it.
What?
ambulance receipts right here.
Yeah, right above. It's line 118.
I'm gonna hide this because this is just confusing.
Yeah, I'm a little confused there too.
Okay.
Eloise.
All right.
Go up maybe 10 lines. Yeah, funding source. If you look at funding source, there's no ambulance receipts for 2021.
Right,
We're in
but there is for
2022.
2022. I unhid those rows because of the whole, tell you what, I can hide them again. Okay, there we go. How's that? Better? See, 165.
Okay.
Okay. And there's 299, 925, which would be all of the other Highland Commons mitigation funded items, leaving a $75 balance if you figure you've got a $300,000 starting balance. Okay.
And Margaret, am I understanding correctly that if you scroll down just a little bit more under that $75, there's now there's an ambulance there. There was another
Oh my God.
thing that
Right here?
said, yeah, right
This
there.
one?
So
Okay.
if we do not approve the brush truck, we save $55,000.
That's what you have. That's what you have left. Yes.
Okay. So that's where we are at the moment.
Yeah.
And our ambulance costs to operate every year, what what are those costs? Could the the ambulance receipts has nearly $400,000 in it, and we'll have $210,000 left over after paying for 52% of the ambulance. Is it possible for the ambulance receipts to cover 65% of the ambulance?
Right. It's possible, but it's going to take a while to replenish that fund as at the rate we're going
Okay.
at the moment, at the rate we've been going. So as of now, or as of very recently, Chief reported that there was $89,000 collected this year so far. The problem is that we apply $100,000 to the operating, the issue is that we apply $100,000 of that to the operating budget as well. So that'll drain down the ambulance receipts a little more. So it's possible, but
Then you could take it out of,
I
any
see.
difference out of stabilization.
Out of town stabilization or capital planning
Town.
stabilization?
Town right now.
I've given the fact that stabilizing is important right now. I know that it's available. I know that we have a healthy stabilization balance. My preference is always to try to find other reasonable or appropriate funding sources. But I know that, every municipality does things differently, and
I think FinCom is a little leery about touching stabilization because we've got some receipts that are overdue and we're not really getting anywhere on receiving those at the moment, from what I understand. So,
But you wouldn't cover receipts with the stabilization fund. You would cover that with maybe free cash.
it's not receipts, I'm sorry, I misspoke. It's mitigation money that we are not accepting, right, Margaret? Help me on this.
it's right, yeah, but we would not be applying large amounts of mitigation money to the operating budget. Only that two.
But if we don't get that money in, is there any of that mitigation money that we're gonna have to cover with other money? Is my
Yes,
Yeah, we would cover free cash.
That's exactly right. So you'd have to have another funding source to cover that $210,000.
That's what I meant. Sorry.
See, you would cover that with free cash, and then what free cash was gonna pay, if it's a big capital item, then that could be paid by your stabilization. You just have to,
Margaret, are we getting any money from the River Bridge apartments?
Not
Right
yet,
now, no.
not yet, John.
So
They're trying.
we cannot count on that money.
I don't really know what the status of that is. I'm afraid we're probably going to be going down a path
rabbit
that I
hole.
was
Okay, all right.
a rabbit hole. We were trying to avoid, but we've
Okay.
got to do what's best for the town. So that's it.
Okay.
well, in my opinion, if Highland Commons mitigation money doesn't come through, then all of it from stabilization you'd have to turn it down. It would be a passover at town meeting because you wouldn't have the money.
Or funding from stabilization, which would really, all of this 1.7, right, exactly, $1.7 million. We have some in free cash. So the things that would be funded from free cash would still be available. But you're right.
Yeah, but you'd have to use that for your operating budget.
No. Sorry. If I learned anything in FinCom from Margaret, that's a big no.
But it is possible. There are.
It's
on other stuff.
possible.
I
And
mean,
then
if
we
you
start-
have to,
and
see,
then we have to
free
have-
cash can cover the operating budget.
It can, but you start with
Stabilization, well, some things are okay and some are not perfect. But it's better than laying off people or totally revising all of your fire/ambulance.
Eloise, I would
Scheduling.
say that free cash would be appropriate to put toward the Berlin Memorial School capital assessment, because those are one-time purchases. And you could justify doing that. Otherwise, if you're putting free cash toward recurring costs in the operating budget, you're building yourself a structural deficit that you're going to carry to future years. So
Not-
and you know
Not
what?
necessarily, only because if you didn't have the promise of mitigation coming in maybe next year, but not this year might be reduced. You don't know. Yeah, you don't want to make
Don't know.
that you can't keep in the future.
That's true. Yep.
I've been doing this since
I know.
1983.
Wow.
I just want to go back to the ambulance a little bit, because last year I was really a firm believer in getting that ladder truck off of the what am I calling that? What's that?
The borrowing.
Yeah. So we've already like moved
That
this
was wise.
ambulance.
That was brilliant.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you. The newbie here. I really feel strongly about this ambulance. We're dealing with already trying to push it out 2 more years just to get on the 10-year. If we move it out 1 more, it's just procrastinating the whole process.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I just keep saying, okay, we did that. I don't know. I'm just looking at what's important and what we're doing. I mean, all of this might go down
Yeah,
the
well,
whole
to
rabbit
Eloise's-
hole like it did last year if things don't start coming around. But I think we need to look at these big capital items and get them onto this FinComs, get them onto something where we can project and save and know what we're doing.
Well, that's why you're supposed to have at least a minimum 5-year plan so that you don't have everything bunched up in 5 years.
Right.
That's where the
So that's
ambulance
why I'm
replacement
saying, I think we need to get something onto the plan this year.
Yes. It makes sense. And, if Highland Commons mitigation funds fall through, I know Chief, your top priority is that CAR 2 replacement, which CPC has approved. Like Eloise said, there is the option of a motion to use stabilization.
Mhm.
So there would be that option.
If I may, I'm listening to your conversation here and why, and I know that, and I appreciate the effort to get an ambulance this year, but we already agreed that we can do it over 2 years. So if it helps you make your decisions on the whole finance team, from the CIC to the FinCom up to the TA, is like, why wouldn't we stick with that? We know we're putting some down this year, like your initial plan, Margaret, and then finish it next year. And it's like, makes life easier. It sounds like it makes life easier for a lot of people. We can live with that, which I agreed to earlier in our FY22 cycle. And it's like, and I don't have an issue with that. And I thank everyone for thinking of us and trying to do it. But if it makes life easier, then go
Fine.
back to our, you know what I mean?
Okay,
I say that.
I have one question. Where would you park it? Margaret, would you talk about an ambulance stabilization fund?
No, I'm not really understanding the
Yeah,
question.
where would we put the 160 or 165?
Oh, that's an
Generated this
ambulance
year.
receipts. You could just ambulance receipts.
It stays
the
there
other-
till next year.
But you know that I've been an advocate too of establishing a public safety mitigation stabilization fund, but with the uncertainty this year, no, it's true. I have, because DOR itself said, has told June, it's not a receipts reserved for appropriation. That's not the appropriate mechanism. I know the town's been working that way. But Eloise, to your question, I would just say, hold on to the ambulance receipts another year then, and apply the public safety mitigation funds next year.
I am very happy with that. And like I said, thank you for thinking of us, but it's like, makes your job too challenging or too difficult. And you got bigger things to chew than that. Half of the years, you know, we can wait a year. We agreed to that.
Now, Chief, that would mean in the long run, you'd have to get 13 years out of this brand new ambulance instead of 12 to get on the replace an ambulance every 10-year schedule. Would that be
Yes.
something you think is possible?
Anything's possible. You don't know how it's gonna end up in Anna. I won't have to worry about that, but I understand that.
But I
Yeah, I know, I
No,
know.
look, FY 59, seriously? Look, we're out to FY 59.
Oh my gosh, he wasn't talking that way before Ava was born. I'm not liking this.
If you did that, so I mean, that would be totally fine. This one would be replaced at 13 years old, which is quite old, but when it's replaced again the next time, it will only be an 11-year-old ambulance. So you'd still be tracking that 10-year, you'd be still headed
And,
toward
and
that 10 year.
again, what will work in our favor with that, and I'm sorry if I spoke over somebody,
No.
is that we'll have a 2 ambulance system that we can rotate them every week and have equal wear and tear on both units.
Yeah.
So I think the 2 ambulance rotation will fit what you want to do perfectly here.
Amen.
So the ambulance receipts money, other than the $100,000 that will be applied to the operating budget, is not going to go anywhere. So that can be held and then applied to the balance from Highland Commons mitigation funds next year.
So before we move forward discussing that, does anybody, and really this is Margaret and a Chief question, I think, maybe Eloise, does anybody have any idea of big capital requests that may come across next year? Like, is fire looking to get another ladder truck next year that we need to be prepared for? We don't have that on our we don't have anything along those lines on our 5-year plan. And I'm
No,
just
and-
curious if there's been scuttlebutt.
I don't have
And
my,
it's supposed to be.
Right, exactly.
I do have we got this last year. This was Fire and Police Resource Plan Capital Spending Request, and there's nothing on for replacement I'm sorry, hold on here.
Well, how
23.
come it has $1,739,480? What makes that up?
I'm sorry, where was that? Eloise, I'm sorry.
On fiscal year 22, look on line item 121.
121, right here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so
The amount of money you have available, yeah.
So Chief as of last year, Chief, I need a ruler for this, hold on.
Yeah.
You had a car one replacement on for 2023 and the ambulance, and that was it.
Well, that's,
So in 2024, you had the engine 3 Pierce Enforcer.
yeah, that will make that, I think, 20 or 21 years old, whatever that is.
Okay, I mean, I can plug these, I can certainly plug, this is the thing that was submitted last December, or December of
Yeah.
2019, I'm sorry. And I can plug these things in for the coming fiscal years to kind of clarify the picture of what the intended replacements are.
I'm sure protective gear should be in there somewhere.
Yeah, Chief, first for SCBA and turnout gear.
The only
This-
thing that may be there next year, Margaret, would be to replace some cylinders. The SCBA packs are all new, but
Yeah.
we have some that are left over that were bought new a while ago. We replaced a lot of them, but not all of them in the past
Okay.
2 years. So we have to replace some cylinders. At 15 years, those are the type that go in the dumpster at 15 years. You use them, put them in the dumpster, drill a hole in them so no one can use them, put them in the dumpster. I don't know how many, but I can get you a number. It's like we just,
Okay.
last week, had to make arrangements to get the annual test done, and that and that showed up that we had that many. So, 2 weeks ago, excuse me. So I can
That's
get
okay.
that number and share that with Margaret.
So there's really no huge, other than the ambulance. And 2024, I'm gonna plug, I can plug in the, whatever this is, the Engine 3 Pierce Enforcer. So just to kind of give a picture of what is gonna be due for replacement and when.
Yeah, that engine 3, that's like the primary structure engine that we got. First one out, with the exception of the highway.
It'll be 20 years old, it says. Okay.
Yeah, that gets the most use.
Sorry, I've gotten us totally off track. We're talking ambulance, right?
We are. Yep. I just wanted to make sure that we're not adding the ambulance to an already busy year. If we push it back a year.
No, there's no,
Nope.
no, nothing. Only, the chief's only request for next year would be the car one replacement.
Yeah, and that's got 93,000 miles on it now.
And that's $45,000.
Yep.
Well, that was the estimate in 2019, so I'm
Yep.
sure it's 50,000.
Whatever. Yeah, like, you're right in the ballpark there.
Okay. So if the capital planning committee would like me to do that, I can plug that in so we can have a good, I can plug that in and I can plug the other item in 2024, the big the engine, to kind of give a clear picture of what's, give a sense anyway of what's coming up.
Well, it's equally important that when the voters look at it, that they become aware
Of what's coming
That
up.
there's going to
yeah.
be
of what's
Yeah.
coming up.
Okay.
This is only one department too.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The schools, the school, we had a 5-year capital plan for them, but there were some things that are deferred, and I know that with the schools, buildings condition assessment that they're looking to do, that there are going to be some other things coming up. Probably moving around of priorities. All right. So I've down in the ambulance replacement schedule here, I've put the ambulance in for FY23, so it would be 13 years old. And there, that strategically, that could be helpful too. Well, never mind, I'm not gonna go there.
No, go ahead, you're halfway there.
Nope, okay. No, I was gonna say, to make the statement that we need to replace an ambulance. The town has grown. We are counting on River Bridge Public Safety Transitional Mitigation Funds. And we are looking to apply those toward this, toward the ambulance purchase in 2023, in FY23. So for negotiation's sake, I think it,
So on this.
now everybody knows, so.
On this spreadsheet, I was interested what Anna said about like spreading it out so we can see. I see you have 22, 23, 24, and you've got 80,000, 80,000, 77,000, whatever. But like what Anna said was, okay, we have the ambulance in 23, we got the ambulance in 29. What else is in there and what else are other people looking for? Because
Well, at some point, you're gonna have a roof.
Yep.
Wait,
That's right. Yes. Well, that's another thing that's deferred. If the public safety roof has been deferred now. And then the fire department, before Chief got here, had plans to build out the upper part of the public safety for sleeping quarters. So that would be another thing.
I mean, I don't want to put on a new roof and then find out, oh, the next year we're going to, rip up half of it because they're gonna put a dormer shed up there.
That was a big reason behind deferring it. Yeah.
I'm not aware of any roof leaks on the fire side. on that section where you're talking that I'm aware of, so that anyone's told me about, so the other section might be, I'm not sure.
Well, you know, and to Dave's point, when he submitted it, the roof is
Yeah.
20 years old, and I think he wanted to be proactive. He wants to be proactive. At the same time, we need to be proactive about the town office roof and,
Mhm.
you know, the brown drip stains we have on the wall now.
Yeah,
Well, see, what happened was the town offices portion was an elementary school.
Mhm.
The public safety part was put brand new in 1999. But the town offices had the roof repair, and I believe it was 1994.
Wow.
They weren't done at the same time.
Yep.
And the Berlin Memorial School was built in 1998.
Huh, does that have its original roof?
Berlin
Eloise?
Memorial? The
Yeah.
school? Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
it's
So
on
that'll be another one.
heating
Well,
system.
with
Yeah.
a lot of little repairs, if you don't remember, the library got leaked in and we had all that mold, remember?
We
Eloise?
had to do that like 3 times.
Yeah, it was not the best of roofs, I will say.
Wow.
Those rubber membrane roofs are they're not the best choices if you can avoid them.
This
They
is
said
really-
it wasn't the
yeah.
roof, it was the fact that you had 2 or 3 buildings coming together at
Yeah.
the same area.
Mhm.
This is a silly question and probably out of my FinCom role here, but we're replacing roofs and stuff. Is anybody thinking about like maybe solar panels, and are these roofs stable for solar? I mean, we're talking going green, we're talking about energy saving.
Can
Is
I
that
talk as
something-
an energy committee person? When we tried to look at putting it on the roofs, they said the orientation of the buildings was fine, but they wouldn't put it on a roof that was more than like 7 years old.
Right, so that's why I'm asking, if we're thinking about replacing the roof, would that be another option to look at while we're talking? I just,
There are
You'd have
companies,
to replace the roof and then you can talk about putting energy
there
stuff.
are companies that will actually put solar on and allow you to finance a roof replacement through them,
right,
but they finance it. So you know,
it's just an option
then
I
not-
thought of.
not only that, we'd have to look very closely at the, we have a solar, PPA net metering agreement that we already have. And so we'd have to look at when we agree to that, we agree to a certain number of kilowatt hours. Eloise, correct me if I'm wrong. We agree to a certain number of kilowatt hours. If we actually see more savings, we could potentially have penalties in that solar PPA net metering agreement. So that's something that we'd have to look closely at. It would be great, but we also.
Given that the highway was sold to the town to be net zero, and the fact
Yes.
isn't, I don't think that's going to be an issue. I agree that it's something you have to be aware of, but I don't think it's an issue.
There is a company out there that okay, we can talk at the Energy Committee meeting, I suppose, too.
No, if it requires money, you gotta talk at this one.
This one, this company does it's kind of a lease, you know, how there are residential solar leases. This company does that. And I know that they'd be able to come out and give us an estimate. But that's, again, I think it's a bigger conversation than right at this moment.
That's a tricky conversation.
It is.
Why don't we circle back to the ambulance?
Okay.
Because the roof is so complicated.
Ambulance.
ambulance.
Right
So
Move it over.
I think I'm gonna make a motion to defer the ambulance to FY '23 with some percent. I'm gonna say some percentage, a minimum of 50% paid for out of ambulance receipts. And then the remainder coming from capital budgeting in
Se-
FY '23.
Or
Second.
public safety mitigation, yeah,
Yes, some sort of.
okay.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Any debate on that discussion before a vote? Okay, so Anna Crane, I'm in favor. I say aye.
Eloise, I.
John, aye.
Great. Okay. So now we've deferred that. Oh, you guys are
The
frozen.
deferring of that, does that mean that frees up money for the brush truck?
It does, if we decide we want a brush truck, but we could have done both, thanks to ambulance receipts. So I have to say I'm not super excited about a brush truck. I guess I'm not totally opposed to a brush truck, but we've been okay without one. Sort of my feeling at the moment. Anybody else?
I agree with you. Away from that. You live without it.
Chief,
Chief,
when again?
Oh.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Margaret.
When is the forestry truck at its at the end of its useful life again?
I believe 27.
27.
I don't have my capital plan with the 10-year plan with me, but I believe it's 27. That'll give it, because it's an 08.
Okay. Okay.
So that's 5 years.
It must
I
be.
think
on
so,
this.
yeah. 26, 28, right there someplace.
So 3 to 5 years.
Oh, there it is. Yep, 2028. FY 28 was on. It was on at the end of 19. FY 28.
Okay.
20 years.
Anna, why don't you make a motion? I think I'm going to abstain.
You think you're going to abstain?
Yeah, but I have no hard feelings one way or the other.
Okay. Well, then I will make a motion to defer the brush truck. I'm going to say at least until next year, just sort of reevaluate at that point in time.
Okay, I second that.
Nah.
Okay. Discussion. Okay. Anna Crane, I'm in favor of deferment of the brush truck. Aye.
Aye. John,
Okay, I guess I'll defer. I.
Okay.
I'm sorry, and at the motion again. Anna, you said deferred FY 23 to study to further.
For further, yep, to gain further information.
Okay.
Or reassess our fiscal situation at that point in time.
Okay. Okay. I can almost bet the addition is not going to add up.
Uh-oh.
And I don't want to even look. Let's see. Well, actually, it doesn't look all that bad. Yep, see, it's not. I have to. irrigation. Yeah, this is wrong. This is wrong. I just want to go up and check this formula here. Vehicle and that. Huh. No, I guess that's okay. All right, you know what I'll have to do? I'm sorry, my brain is just, there it is right there. Okay, so the 310,000 is still showing in this one. And that would be from here is one. And Highland Commons is got right there is another, and this should match up now. Let's hope. Yep, there it is. Okay. 13,137,3, 674 is the total at this point.
The total spent?
The total
Approved.
approved, but that also, I mean, that includes the grant, the donation. You know, a big chunk of this is just the bucket truck grant for 200,000 and the $311,000 for the radio upgrades.
So we have
if you-
$500,000 in excess.
511. Yep, $511,000. So if you take that out from local funds, it's 674.
Well, that makes me feel better.
Janet, how's the finance committee coming along?
Well, you guys are all just kind of like confused me. I'm trying to like process all this. So what have we approved here up in the top part? I'm like totally lost.
Let's go down the list. All right, so it is the car tube replacement, the police vehicle replacement, the radio system infrastructure.
Which we're
Wait a
not
minute.
really, the infrastructure is a grant.
It's a
Correct.
donation, yeah.
Correct. So
Yeah.
we're not paying for that if the grant doesn't come through, correct?
No, it was
Correct.
approved. Okay, approved contingent on grant funding. I think. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. So that has to be like moved out somehow because that money's not
Oh.
going to be spent, right?
Radio system
No, we
infrastructure
still
is
keep
approved,
track of it.
funded by
It
donation.
still goes on our list.
No, I know that, but is that money in our total at the bottom? That's my question.
Yes, it is. It is
Yes.
because it's the total value of the capital items funded. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. And
Now,
then-
the rooftop air handler you still held. The town office roof you held.
the hot top is approved.
Hot top you
Approved.
approved.
Yep.
From free
And
cash.
the bucket truck is approved pending, right?
Yep. Yeah, that is contingent on
Yep.
grant.
Okay. And the wood chipper is still on hold.
Yeah, that was another one. So
I
what
mean,
was why was that one held? I can't
I think because we just weren't sure about the bucket truck, I think.
Go ahead. Wait a minute.
Oh,
Oh, wait a minute.
all right. So the wood chipper is a standalone trailer wood chipper that is currently hauled by, I mean, I saw it hauled by the DPW's van the other day or by their, by their work trucks. I would actually recommend that the Capital Planning Committee fund this. This is 25 years old. It still has a little bit of resale value left, so we could possibly recoup I think Dave actually said 10,000 maybe, but we could potentially recoup $8,000 on the cost of this. If it's not already at the end of nearing the end of its life or at the end of its useful life, it's getting close. And it's something that obviously is used regularly.
I agree with that.
Okay,
If you have
so
one, let's just do it.
I'm gonna make a motion then that we approve the wood chipper replacement funded from free cash, right, Margaret?
Free cash, yes, free cash.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussions? I'm gonna call a vote then. Anna Crane, I vote aye.
Eloise, aye.
John, I.
Great.
Oh,
Okay. And this was also approved from free cash. Okay. All right, so the capital stabilization funding, I assume you want to continue to hold that until you know more about the roof, right?
Correct. Well,
Yep,
speaking for myself, I agree.
me too.
me too.
Okay, so that'll be, do you want to vote on that one? That way we can memorialize that it's being held until further information on the town office roof?
Second.
Sure. Can Margaret make a motion?
No.
that
No,
work?
but we can use her
No, I
words.
cannot.
Okay. Well, I repeat Margaret's non-motion, that we vote to continue to hold the capital plan stabilization fund funding until we know more about the town office's roof.
Second.
Okay. Anna Crane, I'm in favor. I say aye.
Eloise, aye.
Yanis, John, I.
Okay.
Okay. All right. You're making some serious progress here. Okay.
Ah, good.
Bro- This is Berlin Memorial School. Nothing.
I think that's it.
Oh, and the design engineering. I'm going to hide this. This is not something that's here at the moment. That's something we need to work on. So this was the pre-construction.
Complete streets. wasn't it?
Yes, complete streets. Yes. I'm going to.
Yeah, so that's something you do in a year that you have money.
Yeah. Okay. Guess what? Looks like.
Looks like we are
You
done.
got everything. I think you're getting close. Yeah. Approved.
So
Yeah.
except for the roof, what else is outstanding?
Okay, the HVAC, do you want to, you want to do the same motion and vote on the HVAC pending further information on the roof?
Sure. I make a motion that we hold on the HVAC replacement until we have further information on the replacement of the town office roof.
Will we have that by next Monday when we
I
meet
sh-
selectmen?
I hope so. I know Dave's reached out. Dave got an email back. They were checking with their manager. We're trying to get the info.
Okay. I'll second Anna's. Sorry, Anna, I had a momentary lapse.
Oh my God, a whole moment?
Yep.
Mm.
Okay, any discussion, questions? Okay, I'm gonna call it to a vote. I, Anna Crane, say aye.
Eloise, aye.
John, I.
Okay. All right. And this, for the roof, because we don't even have a cost on it, I'm just gonna note, what did I do? Oh, there we go. I'm just gonna put hold there. Self-explanatory.
Well, put it in bold, so it'll
Okay.
jump out at you.
Capital and bold. Okay.
I would love that somehow there was a color coding here. Rather than having to go all the way over to approved, to know like the monies column, what's approved and what's not approved. I know that sounds crazy, but you did it for us in FinCom and it was just so much easier to follow.
I
Sorry.
could do it as a,
Because you have them in bold, but you also have them in bold when they're being held, you know?
yeah. I can do
Change
color
the
coding.
font.
I could
No,
change the
that's-
font. I could do color coding for the approved ones.
That's
Oh, I can do
okay.
any-
It's
any
just
number of
it's
things.
just
We can make
me
it look
with my seriously dyslexia. When I'm looking at all of this, I'm going, whoa.
Yeah, I can make it look pretty.
Well, it doesn't need to look pretty. It just needs to
It has to be
like,
functional.
functional
Clean.
for me. Yeah.
Plain, functional, pretty, colorful.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. How about I work on that
That's all
tomorrow?
right. Not a bit.
I can work on that tomorrow and send it to all of you.
Okay.
And you can take a last look and let me know if there's any final
So let me
changes.
get
Now,
this straight for FinCom because that's coming up. Is so other than the roof and the HVAC, those are, and then the things that are on hold because of grant money, which are the bucket truck and the radio system.
mhm.
So roof, HVAC, bucket, radio. Everything else was approved and the ambulance and the brush truck have been deferred to 23. Do I have it right?
Yeah, I think you
Okay.
do. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Wow, you guys did great work.
There's going to be, because of the deferrals, there is going to be significant money left, but I think, so when you present to the board on Monday night, just to go over the plan, I'm going to certainly back up all of your recommendations and, we can elaborate on, the concerns we have with the anticipated funding. And, that we're trying to take a conservative approach just to be sure that we can pay for these items.
I think that sounds reasonable.
Just a quick question.
Extra money, you could put it in the capital stabilization fund.
We could do that. We could say whatever's left over, we're putting in stabilization.
You could.
Well,
But
that
let's see
way
what-
it's,
Hey,
it's there for next year.
let's
Yeah.
see what the roof costs first.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
We don't know. I have no idea. Okay, yeah, no, that's a great idea. That is a great idea.
Now for the roof estimate, did we talk only one company or several?
He's just getting an estimate from one company. It's the same company that just did a few repairs on the roof, an inspection and a few repairs on the roof. And they also put up roof guards. So he's trying to get it from that company. So they were just here. I don't really know what the delay is.
Well,
Square
won't
footage.
he need to get 3 quotes?
Oh, yeah, eventually, absolutely. But for the purpose of this, he needs an estimate.
It's amazing it takes them 3 weeks to come up with an estimate. That just doesn't make sense.
I know, it doesn't. I might call him tomorrow myself.
Well, just blame it on us. We're nagging you.
Yeah,
I will.
that sounds
Okay,
good.
I will. Okay, I will.
Ah,
All right, so I'll
Okay.
clean this up
Any-
tomorrow and I'll get it out to everybody. I think I've captured everything here, and I'll clean it up and I'll make it look functional. And I'll keep the ambulance replacement scheduled at the bottom, so that can be explained as well. And
so devil's advocate, which really isn't. Best case scenario, we get all the money that we're not anticipating. Is there anything we should be thinking about moving back in that we don't want to defer? Just food for thought. Because I know FinCon's going to ask that question.
yeah, and that, Chief, you have the 2 items that were deferred here. And of course, you're going to need to deal with the roof and the HVAC too. So those are the only items that I think those are the priority items, I think, that were deferred.
That and the tree removal, the 60,000 for tree removal.
Right, because if the
Yeah.
grant doesn't fund the bucket truck, you're gonna need to go back and have some other option.
Right.
Well, even if the grant does fund the bucket truck, though, we still have trees. It won't get all the trees.
Right.
So, but I still think our biggest problem is just not knowing what that roof might cost.
Mhm.
You know, if it's $50,000 or $500,000.
Oh, gosh, Anna. Woo.
I like zeros.
Well, look, in the money that
But-
you're looking to set aside for capital stabilization, there's over $300,000 right there. I think that would be a good start. But I have no
Yeah.
idea. I'm not a roofer. I have no idea.
Me neither.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna,
Before we adjourn, I just want to make sure that the annual report that I wrote was good with my other members, or if there's items they would like to have. Oh, I'm really dark. The items they would like to have added or altered in the report.
No, I said, for me, it's good to go.
Okay,
Me too. Good to know.
Okay. Great. I will turn it in then.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
adios.
Okay, I'm
Done, right?
gonna.
You're good?
all right, I'll
think
get
so.
this to you all tomorrow, okay? Thank you. Good night,
Thanks. We're gonna
good-
Good night.
adjourn at 6:21.